I was a child of a teacher and a nurse in the late 40s. I was born and then, of course, brought up in a township, went to school, grew up and somewhat started making certain observations in the 50s about the activities of my mother. And now, as an adult, having been reading about history, about the women's activities of those times, it's very interesting for me to somewhat make sense of that. Someone I was flying with, who just happened to sit next to me, said to me one day, the first time I read Das Kapital, it was through the arrangement of an old man, Mbete, who was the librarian at Fort Hare, who arranged for him to go into some basement and read and leave that book there. So clearly he was doing this type of thing. You break rules that seem to be trying to force you to limit your movements, to limit the issues around which you discuss with your age mates, because we used to already at that time, me and my friends, speak politics. We used to already be talking about observations we were making about the country, about the society, although we didn't have deep understanding. I was observing that the white people live on this side of the college. There was a road going through the college, and there was an administration block, and then the block with our classrooms. All the black people, the black staff, lived on this one side of the college, and the white people lived on the other side, which was bordering a river. So it was very green and beautiful, and really they picnicked there and so on. And as a child, you make these observations. So I'm thinking, why? This is not right. I had just grown up, made my own observations, came to my own conclusions as a young person growing up in a particular racist society. I got a job selling skin lightening creams. And at some point, this thing about these skin lightening creams was like, no, man, this thing doesn't make sense. So I started grappling with the very essence of this job that I have. White woman manager became aware of my thinking about this, or somebody reported, I don't know. One day I'm called and she says, you know what, we think you're overqualified for this job. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? And she was expelling me. I was losing my job. And it's simply because suddenly I'm raising uncomfortable issues about the essence of this job. I became part of the instruments through which the conscientization of our children in the schools where we're supposed to dish out apartheid Bantu education. And I was not going to do that. I was going to do my best to actually counter that quietly within that space. I've come to the conclusion in my own experience and exposure that humanity must trust women leaders.
Everything that we represent in this house, let somebody competent who has shown competence approach, step down.
At this point, nothing in the Constitution nor in the rules requires me to recuse myself.
A woman's perspective brings onto the political scene that is very valuable. That quality is not a quality to be dismissed and to be confined to homes. There is value in upholding the principle of the correctness of letting more women take leadership positions. You don't need to bring down buildings to make your point. Make sure that it's the quality of your argument that helps your message to be understood. It's not about boxing, fighting physically. Let us unlearn and relearn a different way of coexisting.